The figures say it all. In 2023, this was simply the best-selling car in the world.
It took almost everyone by surprise.
It's Tesla's Model Y, a 100% electric vehicle that has become the American brand's biggest success.
It's a car that's a kind of big round candy with a pretty amazing design.
With the Model Y, Tesla has refined its magic formula.
When you see them everywhere today, in almost every single country in the world, you have some Teslas, and they're very ubiquitous.
How did the car maker manage to race to the top of the market so quickly?
It's remarkable to think that no Tesla had ever been built 20 years ago.
According to experts, the secret of this dazzling success lies in the brand's gigantic Gigafactories.
We're talking about an investment of several billion euros.
The astonishing sum adds up to high-tech batteries.
They look like batteries. They're usually side by side in a row, connected to each other.
Reliable, crazy powerful engines.
The acceleration is really something.
The S Plaid is faster than an F1 in pure acceleration.
And the much-touted proprietary Autopilot system designed for autonomous driving.
The car will take you from one place to another, and you don't have to do a thing.
But a series of high-profile accidents has raised serious questions about its reliability. Dealing a major blow for a brand that has invested heavily in high-tech vehicle safety. Now, let's take a look at what's hidden under the hood of a Tesla and discover how the engineers designed a sedan that can cover hundreds of kilometers without burning a drop of fuel. What exactly does it take to reinvent the automobile? Through cutting-edge computer-generated images and analysis from leading experts, we will explore this 100% electric machine. Come witness the most important technological advances in the history of the automobile. Tesla's in the fast lane on the road to the future. It's a brand that has built its legend on just 4 models. In the Tesla catalog, there's the Model S, the first vehicle mass-produced by the brand. There's also the Model X, a high-end SUV, the Model 3, the family sedan, and finally the newbie that sent Tesla's sales soaring, the Model Y.
When you see them everywhere today, in almost every single country in the world, you have some Tesla. It's almost disturbing how fast that happened.
With this 100% electric range, the entire automotive industry is entering a new era. It's the electric revolution. At its head is Elon Musk. When he embarked on the Tesla adventure in the early 2000s, he was one of the few who believed in the future of the electric car.
At the time, people thought he was crazy and not serious. The articles that came out about Musk and Tesla at that time explained that he was a crank with a temper.
In the space of 15 years, we've gone from being a minor player that everyone laughed at, it was seen as an oddball project in a garage, to the world's leading manufacturer of electric cars.
How did this brand become a Hollywood blockbuster in record time? The scene is shot in Texas by the American company itself. Here, on the banks of the Colorado River, Tesla has set up its latest gigantic factory. The most high-tech. The most impressive, too. As big as 100 soccer fields, it's the world's largest industrial building.
If you put the building on its side, it's taller than the Burj Khalifa. And this building is the most advanced car factory that Earth has ever seen.
At Tesla, they call this giant plant a Gigafactory, an ultra-modern car factory designed to produce an astronomical number of vehicles, almost 500,000 every year.
We're talking about a plant capable of producing both batteries and cars. This is the alliance that will create what we now call a Gigafactory.
As the term giga indicates, it's a factory that is really quite substantial. It's an investment of several billion euros.
A Gigafactory is an incredible machine. You take the key elements of a car, the battery, the silicon, for example, the aluminium, and you put them at one place in the factory and take them out the other side, and you've a complete functioning car.
It's the most amazing factory that Tesla has built so far. The quintessence, the apex, because it's leveraging everything that has been developed by Tesla for about 15 years.
Today, Tesla owns 6 factories like this one, spread over 3 continents. The means to produce 2 million Teslas per year. That's one car every 45 seconds in the brand's most efficient plant, the one in Shanghai, China.
In 2024, Tesla produced 1.8 million vehicles. Elon Musk's stated goal is 20 million vehicles by 2030. It may seem huge to go from 1.8 million vehicles today to 20 million in 2030, but if Tesla continues on the correct curve, they'll reach 20 million. But to produce 20 million vehicles, you need at least 20 to 30 factories. This means another 15 factories to be launched in the coming years if Tesla wants to stick to that goal.
To achieve such high production rates, Tesla has no choice. Each vehicle must be manufactured as simply as possible. A complex challenge that involves reducing the number of parts needed to build a car.
You don't want to have like 2 million parts that are there together. That will be 2 million bolts. It's complex to build. There are more possible failure modes. And this is something that Tesla understood very well.
I have an image that comes to mind. When I was a child, I used to play with little cars called majorettes back then. I loved to take them apart, and they were made of 2 parts. One, which was the chassis of the car, and another came on top, the body of the car. They were just clipped together. Well, we've gone back to that design, if a little more complex, to make things simpler.
How do you reduce the number of parts to be assembled in the bodywork? From 171 metal parts in the front and rear of a Model 3, one of Tesla's very first designs, to just 2 on the Model Y. Tesla's answer? The Gigapress. It's the largest machine of its type in the world. It weighs over 400 tons, measures 20 meters long, and can apply a crushing force on metal of several thousand tons. An ultra-sophisticated metal colossus capable of molding gigantic body components in one single operation.
Instead of thinking we're going to get an army of robots, 100 or so robots, assembling pieces of sheet metal, we're going to do what's called die casting. So we've got a big press that's actually going to press 6,000 tons of aluminum, which will save a huge amount of manufacturing time. The entire floor of the car becomes a huge casting. And so, to manufacture it, the mold alone is going to be very large, several meters in each dimension, including height. And then you need an extremely powerful press to hold the mold closed while you inject.
The Gigapress uses a gigantic piston to inject 80 kilos of molten aluminum at 850 degrees into a mold at very high speed. The part is then extracted by a robot, which immerses it in water to cool it down. The result? 90 seconds to manufacture the front and rear of a Tesla. That's enough to produce 1,000 body parts a day from this monumental machine. With its gigapresses, Tesla has become the fastest car maker on the planet.
We're talking about potential savings on production cost of between 10 and 40%. And it's interesting to see other manufacturers casting a curious eye and starting to get involved.
A manufacturing simplification that could become standard in the automotive industry. A technological revolution? Perhaps not, as this process poses a major problem in the event of an accident.
The risk with one-piece parts like this, in the event of a crash or an accident, is that they are less repairable. So instead of replacing one part out of 100, you'd have to replace half the car, and that would be too expensive, and we wouldn't be able to repair it, or it would be a substantial price for the user. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Do I really make it a single piece, or do I chop it up? If it is made from a single block, can I make it repairable? By actually mechanically having pieces that I can take apart and come back to resolder? Tesla is currently working hard on this, but it's one of the inconveniences mentioned above.
Obstacles remain. But for most specialists, the American company would have a serious advantage. It already has a head start on all the others.
It really put Tesla into the next level of production. And I think Tesla will also be remembered as the manufacturer that dramatically squeezed the supply chain and how many parts are required to build a car.
Enough to take over the market in just a few years and confirm the launch of a car brand which, in barely 15 years, has become one of the most famous on the planet and even beyond.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's February 6th, 2018. On this day, Tesla is aiming for the moon with SpaceX. For the first time, Elon Musk's space company sends a monster of power into space, the Falcon Heavy launcher. And Tesla is along for the ride.
The boss's little surprise of the Falcon Heavy launch was that Elon Musk had placed his Roadster, Tesla's first model from 2018, under the rocket's nose cone. They'll put a dummy in the driver's seat and send it into space. The little "Don't Panic" sign on the screen when the cap opens, with David Bowie blaring.
And not going into orbit, like going into space to infinite. I think that was part of the communication as well. It's like, it will flow in space forever. There are two things that are interesting here. It's like the symbol for Tesla and the fortune-telling of the future, a demonstration of the level of ambition. The first car that will be in space is a Tesla. That was showing that they are going to be unstoppable.
Behind this costly comms operation is Elon Musk's naked ambition. He's convinced an electric car can bury thermal vehicles and their obsolete fossil fuel engines for good. Tesla has a secret hidden under the floorboards of its cars that will enable it to enter the all-electric era with full force: batteries.
Batteries are both the secret sauce and the secret ingredient. Everything else you can figure out. But batteries are extremely difficult to build. It's complex. It's chemistries. It's rare materials.
It's often said that the battery represents 30 to 40%, sometimes more, of the value of the car, which is enormous.
I was talking with a representative at Tesla service center, and I was asking how much would that cost to replace my battery? And they told me it's about $16,000. I was shocked. $16,000 was the cost to replace the battery pack.
The battery is the mainstay of the automotive industry's electric revolution and the focus of all attention. Without it, nothing would be possible.
They look like our batteries. They're usually side by side in rows, connected to one another. In the first Model S, there were nearly 10,000. In a Model 3, I'd say there were about 6,000. And then now, in a Model Y, they've started using slightly larger cells. So I'd say something like 2,000 this time.
That's a lot of batteries, one after the other, soldered together.
It's an element that's under the floor. When you get into the vehicle, you don't necessarily realize that between you and where you put your feet and the bottom of the car, there's this battery.
So you can imagine the weight. It's probably more than half a ton. It's probably a quarter, at least, maybe a third of the weight of the vehicle.
A battery pack comprising several thousand cells connected in series and sealed in a rigid structure. All installed just a few centimeters above the ground. This lowers the vehicle's center of gravity as much as possible.
Normally a car doesn't have such a low center of gravity, but here you'll really get a car that feels heavy and therefore has this drag effect. But at the same time, it has a certain agility, especially when cornering, where it really sticks to the road, and that's what makes Tesla cars so sporty and dynamic.
All the specialists seem to agree. This battery pack plays a crucial role in Tesla handling. So, we decided to check it out with essential ingredients, a fast track, and the sportiest version made by Tesla, the Model S Plaid.
Most of the people I know who own a Plaid, they detune it. They go in the settings, and they don't use it in Plaid. They use in sport, and sometimes they use it in chill. They are actually scared.
To tame the beast, we entrusted this Tesla Plaid to a professional driver. Cindy Goudet, 28, six-time French hill climb champion, equally at ease in the mountains, on ice, and even in rallies at the wheel of 100% electric cars. On the track, the Tesla Plaid boasts breathtaking technical characteristics. 322 kilometers per hour top speed and over 1,000 horsepower under the accelerator pedal. Enough to sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 2 seconds.
Oh gosh. The chassis is really stable too.
Stability would even be increased tenfold by track mode. This option, which is fitted to all Tesla Plaids, automatically lowers the suspension and thus places the body of the vehicle at ground level.
I was pleasantly surprised by the car's balance. We know that electric cars, because of the batteries, weigh more than a thermal car. The mass distribution has been very well studied. The fact that the batteries are already spread out over the entire lower part of the car, which is already rather low, means we have a car that is extra flattened.
Less than 12 centimeters when lowered. Unprecedented ground clearance for a vehicle weighing over 2 tons.
Ferrari has spent a lifetime trying to integrate the gearbox, engine and rear-wheel control arm to be as low as possible. There's no such problem with electric cars. With electric cars, the battery, motor and wheels are all at the same level. So you have much better road holding than with a combustion engine car.
There's no sensation of the car pitching, so you don't really feel its weight. And when you get the car into the curve, it's still quite dynamic for its weight. You can't take too long to get into the curves either, because otherwise you won't be able to set the car correctly. So your driving technique doesn't change, you just have to adapt to new indicators.
And that's not all. The ultra-rigid battery pack installed under the vehicle floor has another advantage. It stiffens the car by linking the front and rear axles in a rigid or almost rigid unit.
3, 2, 1.
All the independent crash tests seem to confirm it. A Tesla takes impacts better than any other car.
3, 2, 1.
The skateboard architecture also has an advantage in terms of safety, because you have these 4,000 cells that are between your wheels, basically, and it will be impossible to crush.
This battery pack will create a kind of protective cocoon where users will really be protected because the battery pack has to be able to withstand any impact. And as it's located in the passenger compartment, the external parts, typically the front and rear hoods, will in fact absorb the shock.
I believe it was the very first time that the American authority that was doing the crash test and so on, their press was not capable of crushing the Model S. And I believe it was calibrated to 16 tons or 12 tons. So it could not compress the Model S. But because you have this very heavy pack that is at the bottom of the car, this vehicle is almost impossible to return. You can't flip it. It will always be on its four-wheel.
High-tech design that allows the battery pack to supply energy to the vehicle while reinforcing its structure. As a result, Tesla turns tests into marketing arguments and claims that its vehicles are capable of outperforming traditional gasoline-powered cars on all terrains. Sledgehammer arguments that internet users decided to check out during a high-speed confrontation. This video has been doing the rounds on the web with several million views in just a few weeks. On the right of the track, dressed in black, the Bugatti Chiron Super Sport, one of the most powerful and prestigious production sports cars ever designed by the automotive industry. Close to 1,600 horsepower and a sticker price of over 4 million euros.
I know it's 4 million, but it feels 4 million. It looks great, great colour scheme, easy to drive.
On the left, wearing white, Tesla's Bombshell, the Model S Plaid equipped with track pack. The brand's racing car of sorts. Ready to take on a prestigious vehicle costing almost 20 times as much.
Right, let's get on with the race. It's time to put our helmets on.
3, 2, 1.
Acceleration is lightning fast, and the Tesla literally leaves the Bugatti in its wake. Although the Bugatti eventually catches up after more than half a kilometer.
Come on! Oh my God! Oh no, he's coming. Whoa! Ah, come on!
A 120,000 euro car that's a family sedan in which you can take your kids to school, that looks like maybe a big Renault 25, to oversimplify, and that blows away a Bugatti, that's a masterpiece of car goldsmithery, the summum of what combustion engines can do. Well, it beats them.
There's lots of videos showing this on social media, YouTube, etc. We regularly see a Model X or a Model S Plaid taking on a Porsche or a Jaguar or a BMW M5. And the races are over 100 meters, 200 meters, 1 kilometer, sometimes even against fighter jets or motorcycles. That's something Elon Musk saw very early on. He realized that making an electric car shouldn't just be about the environment. It should also be a vehicle that retains the characteristics that make people who like to drive want to buy it.
Extraordinary acceleration that has become something of a Tesla trademark.
The acceleration is really something. In fact, you even have to be patient before accelerating, because if you re-accelerate too soon, you tend to get caught out.
Zero to 100 happens in 2.1 seconds, whereas a Formula One car takes 2.5 to 3 seconds. So the Model S Plaid is faster than an F1 car in terms of pure acceleration.
It's crazy. People feel bad in the car.
You're really glued to your seat when you accelerate. It's impressive. As soon as you step on the gas, you're immediately glued to your seat. So that's pretty unsettling. The power curve on a conventional car is pretty progressive, meaning that it rises gradually. An electric car, on the other hand, rises all at once, then plateaus. That's something you rarely find on a sports car, a production car, or a racing car. So it's not a racing car. The interior ergonomics mean that we're not in a racing car at all. It's a road car with very high performance levels.
The secret of such performance is totally invisible to the Tesla driver.
When you open the hood of a combustion engine car, you see the big metal box containing the cylinders. When you open the hood of a Tesla, there's no engine. Where is the engine? We don't know.
The motor is hidden in the car's chassis, under the body. Depending on the model, Tesla cars are equipped with 1, 2, or even 3 electric motors. A tiny motor, no bigger than a watermelon, is housed at axle level, between the vehicle's 2 wheels.
It's almost disappointing for mechanical enthusiasts, since an internal combustion engine is at least 1 meter long by 50 centimeters. An electric motor is like a big water tank. It's very small.
Also, the range of an electric motor is very wide. It has the same torque from 0 rotation per minute to as fast as it can rotate. And that's very comfortable. Whatever the speed you are, you press it, you have the same torque to accelerate.
The invention of the electric motor is nothing new. It's even older than the gasoline engine. The first person to file a patent was American engineer Nikola Tesla at the end of the 19th century. He was the driving force behind the engines that power the brand of car that bears his name today as a tribute. His invention is the AC induction motor, a revolutionary technology composed of two essential elements, the stator and the rotor. When an alternating current is sent through the stator, it creates a rotating electromagnetic field. The rotor then acts as a magnet and starts to rotate too. This in turn drives the car's wheels.
The stator is immobile, as the name suggests, while the rotor is mobile. And the rotor has an axis. You put two wheels on both sides of the rotor and you have an electric motor for a car. It's the simplest thing in the world. It just turns and goes. An electric motor is incredibly simple. The Tesla motor is very simple.
An electric motor comprising 20 times fewer parts than the engine on a conventional car.
Very few moving parts, therefore very little rubbing, so very little wear, if any.
There are Tesla cars today that have 1 million miles. They had to change the batteries, obviously, but I heard that one of them still has the original drive unit on it. So this motor is capable of running 1.6 million kilometers, 1 million miles. You don't even need to change the oil.
So this motor is robust, with exceptional performance and zero maintenance. It's a magic formula of sorts that the brand doesn't hesitate to brandish with arrogance. The proof is in the pudding. The new Tesla Roadster will be the fastest car in the world, according to the American company. And that's just the beginning.
It promises 1,000 kilometers of autonomy, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in barely 2 seconds, reaching new heights of acceleration and a top speed of 400 kilometers an hour. So we're really talking about 3 records in a row that have never been seen in automobile production for a model advertised at $250,000. So we're back in very high-end, exclusive Tesla territory.
Even without being on the road, it maintains this notion of here's a car that surpasses anything that's ever been done. It is an extraordinary car, and when it goes into serious production, it will probably be a car that people want to buy. To illustrate how Tesla engineers think outside the box, at one point, there was even talk of adding SpaceX rocket engines for an even more powerful acceleration.
3, 2, 1, go.
This commercial produced by the brand still only shows a CGI prototype. It's a way for Tesla to keep the myth alive, then unleash passions having gathered millions of fans on the internet.
Ready?
You ready?
No.
Oh my gosh! Oh!
This success story could have its happy ending right there. But other videos give a completely different picture and raise a question about the brand that could be a threat to its success. That of reliability. Images of rare violence that cast upon Tesla the worst commercial argument of all, that of doubt. Paris, December 2021, 1 dead. Then Chaozhou in China, November 2022, 2 dead. Or in Columbus, Ohio, USA, May 2022. No casualties, but over $300,000 worth of damage. In each of these crashes, the scenario is the same. According to the drivers, the Tesla suddenly accelerated on its own, and the brakes didn't respond.
There are minor details in relation to the number of kilometers driven, but these are cases that are widely publicized because they're dramatic, and then there are victims, sometimes deaths.
For the accidents in France and the USA, investigations are still ongoing. But in the Chinese case, they have shown that it was indeed human error.
It may seem surprising, but confusing the brake pedal with the accelerator pedal can have a totally disturbing effect, where in fact we try to press it again because we're convinced it is the brake, but it's the accelerator. So it's more of a human error, but one which inevitably has major consequences on such powerful vehicles.
The most serious of these widely publicized accidents for Tesla is the first of them, the one which killed Joshua Brown on May 7, 2016, when he activated the assisted driving system of his Model S, Autopilot, an option whose performance he praised in a video posted on the web just weeks before his accident.
Here we are, stop and go traffic on 271, and geez, car's doing it all itself.
What am I gonna do with my hands down here? It takes all the stress out of it. Tell you what, it's like, yeah, get to your destination slightly slower, but hey, at least now you don't have to worry about anything. It's just let it go.
This autopilot, which allows Joshua Brown's Tesla to do everything on its own, is complex software developed by the brand. Its purpose is to one day allow a vehicle to drive its passengers to their final destination without any human intervention.
It's a vehicle's ability to drive itself in a certain number of situations. So I set a cruising speed for my car, but it's going to vary that speed according to the vehicle in front. Tesla has also added line following, which on the freeway adds an extra level of comfort because you don't have to touch the steering wheel. On the other hand, the driver has to keep their hands on the steering wheel, which is the safety regulation to ensure that the driver is always in control of what's going on.
Autopilot is an advanced sensor system consisting of 8 panoramic cameras that continuously scan the car's environment within a 250-meter perimeter. 12 new generation ultrasonic sensors and a high-capacity radar complete the system. All the data collected is analyzed up to 2,300 times a second by software driven by artificial intelligence algorithms.
From the outset, Tesla cars have been equipped with cameras and sensors that constantly pick up information from outside the car and centralize it, and a computer that performs what's known as labeling, i.e., okay, I've seen a pedestrian, that's a car coming from the left crossing the road, there's a traffic light there, etc. These labels enable the car to make the right decision at the right time.
Autonomous driving is defined by 6 degrees. At 0, there's nothing. You drive your car entirely, you start it, you have a steering wheel and pedals. There are no driving aids, none. And it goes all the way up to 5, 5 being the highest, where it says you have no pedals, no steering wheel, no interaction with the car. The car is capable, from A to Z, of taking you from one place to another without you having to do a thing. That's totally autonomous.
In Joshua Brown's Tesla, driving at 120 kilometers an hour on a sunny Florida highway, Autopilot is activated. The car approaches an intersection. The driver is watching a film on a tablet on the passenger seat. His hands are not on the steering wheel, as the automaker recommends. So he doesn't notice the white 18-ton truck about to cut him off. The Tesla doesn't slow down or change course and slams into the semi at full speed. Brown dies instantly.
The truck had a sort of, well, it was white, a sort of white veil in front. The sensors didn't interpret this label as a truck, but as part of the landscape, and so it didn't see the obstacle. The investigation found that the driver was also partly to blame because he wasn't keeping his eyes on the road and wasn't ready to react.
It's a textbook case of trusting the machine a little too much, which means you have to remain in control of your vehicle. That's the law, and that's why it's compulsory to have a driver. There's still a steering wheel and there's still a brake, and if you press the brake while in autopilot on a Tesla, it disengages immediately.
Accidents get a lot more media coverage because of this notion. I'm putting my life in the hands of a robot. It's a lot harder for human beings to accept that the robot made the wrong decision compared to a decision made by a human being, even if it was wrong, as we know that we're fallible. It's not easy to put your destiny in the hands of a machine, though you do. In fact, when you get on a plane, because planes are regularly on autopilot, but on the roads, it's not yet part of everyday life, so it's a bit tricky to handle.
This accident casts a shadow of doubt over the reliability of Tesla and its autopilot. It also calls into question one of the brand's main commercial pillars.
There are accidents, of course, but it will be very interesting to come up with a rationale of how many accidents are there and compare that to how many lives may have been saved over these many kilometers that have been driven on autopilot, for instance.
The statistics are there, they're very clear. Computers may have their faults, but they're safer than humans. And there's a big difference compared to humans. An autopilot will never think, oh, I don't give a damn about that stop sign, I won't bother with it. It'll never think that. Nor will it ever think, oh, he's getting on my nerves in front of me, I'm going to overtake him, even though it's a complicated situation. Autopilot has no ego. And the abandonment of ego in relation to the human driver is safety. And the figures are indisputable.
Over 1 million kilometers driven in an electric car in autonomous driving mode, there are 5 to 10 times fewer accidents than in 1 million kilometers driven by a human in a conventional car.
Technology capable of considerably reducing the risk of road accidents? With Autopilot, Tesla thinks it holds the secret to our driving future. Elon Musk and his company's well-honed marketing team will sweep away the few software bugs. At the same time, he claims that his cars are the best in another sensitive area: autonomy. It's the first number that comes up when you consult the Tesla catalog to buy your next vehicle. Autonomy, the word that makes all those who decide to embark on the adventure of the 100% electric car tremble.
When electric cars first came out, people developed a concept called electric anxiety, which was, but when I have an electric car, I'm anxious that it's going to break down, that there's no electricity left in the battery, and then I'll be lost somewhere in the wilderness, obviously, and there'll be no place to recharge it. Or I'll go and see a local and say, can I plug into your main socket and then spend the night at his place, because it'll take a night before I can leave again. In short, there are plenty of nightmare scenarios surrounding electric anxiety.
In the jargon of electric car specialists, we call this range anxiety. How can we accurately estimate the number of kilometers the car can cover on a single battery charge?
As it happens, I started developing electric vehicles in the 1990s. And we were making electric cars that were already very, very good. They had a range of almost 70, maybe even 80 kilometers. We thought that was great. Can you imagine? 80 kilometers on the same battery? But no, that's not what a car is. For most people, a car is an object of freedom. It lets you go much further.
Right from the start, Elon Musk understood that autonomy was essential if electric vehicles were to take off among the general public.
What people want is freedom. Do you think 500 kilometers is enough? Yes, it's enough. People say, oh yes, this is really a car that lets me go as far as I want.
A dream autonomy, which remains very theoretical, because it depends on a host of parameters which affect power consumption and therefore battery discharge. Weather, temperature, road surface, speed, driving style, and even the vehicle's ability to recharge itself while driving. This is the special feature of the electric motor. Each time it decelerates or brakes, it can recharge its own batteries.
The energy recovered in this way in an electric car is around 10 to 15% of that injected.
It's easier to cross the Alps in an electric car than to drive on a flat freeway. You cross the Alps with an electric car, you've spent almost nothing because it recharges when it comes back down, and it does it very well. What's more, it's very pleasant when you're driving because you feel that when you decelerate, you're recovering energy, which is a bit virtuous, whereas on a conventional car, all the deceleration phases are a waste of energy.
A headache for the onboard computers, which have to estimate the vehicle's range as accurately as possible in real time. A headache that Tesla is going to sweep away at an event concocted by Elon Musk himself. September 24th, 2012. Tesla launches its ultra-fast charging stations, codename Supercharger.
So we're going to have these at highway rest stops all around the country and around the world. This is not something that's going to be deployed at some distant point in the future. This is video from today showing 4 of the supercharger locations in use.
I remember that was precisely when I decided that I wanted to convince my wife that we should get a Tesla, is right after Elon Musk announced, out of nowhere, oh, and by the way, we are building superchargers and there are going to be like 6 of them within the next 6 months. Out of the blue, it was extremely shocking to everyone. It was a good surprise.
And that's a gamble that I've always found quite astounding, because where other manufacturers with much greater resources have never really decided to launch their charging network, Tesla, in startup mode, did it very early on in their history. And that, for me, was decisive in reassuring customers and convincing them that a Tesla can be used for long journeys.
Thanks to this technology, unprecedented at the time, electric cars can now compete on equal terms with gasoline-powered vehicles on very long journeys.
So you could make trips to charge the car, have lunch, then set off again. But it all took quite a while. Today, with advances in batteries and superchargers, most vehicles, including Teslas, charge almost 80% of their battery in 20 to 25 minutes, which is already much more efficient. We're far from being at the level of thermodynamic cars where you can fill up your tank in a minute or two, but we're gradually getting there, and as we make progress, we'll probably get closer to 5 to 10 minutes, which is the threshold at which we'll be so close to a combustion engine that the difference will no longer be very noticeable.
Ultra-fast charging stations that will invade the planet in record time. 10 years after the first superchargers were installed, 4,000 stations and more than 50,000 charging points are spread over 4 continents.
At first, it was a reassuring element for Tesla users. Now it's almost become a new business, offering electricity to other users.
Tesla is so well established and has thought out the locations of its superchargers so carefully that this activity is likely to become increasingly profitable over time and will eventually enable Tesla to sell electricity on a massive scale. Today, 15% of sales already come from this activity, which is not insignificant.
A few years ago, brands were still looking down their noses at Tesla. Today, they're forced to say to their customers, go charge at Tesla, because they were ahead of the game and they're still the leaders in electric cars today.
With such a network of charging stations, Tesla is hitting hard and sweeping aside the competition to take pole position in the field of autonomy. This gives the 100% electric brand a huge lead. From now on, Tesla has no limits. And the story may not end there. The American manufacturer is now tackling other great symbols of the automotive industry, starting with the commercial vehicle. Here are the first images unveiled by Tesla of the futuristic Cybertruck, a pickup, the most common vehicle in North America. Powerful, ultra-rugged, and of course, all-terrain, according to the American company.
Cybertruck is very interesting because it's anything but sustainable. It's consuming more energy than a pickup truck. So there is a paradox here that's interesting, and which means that the mission has evolved already.
The Cybertruck, a monster tailor-made for the colossal American market, and armed to face its worst excesses.
I was really nervous. It's hard to say how nervous I was, but it worked out. We took a Tommy gun to the side of this truck, and everything looks intact.
Tesla also has another major market in its sights, the heavy-duty truck market. The brand is tackling this market with its famous Semi, an XXL 100% electric truck that could well revolutionize long-distance freight transportation.
There is no boundary, there is no limit. Tomorrow Tesla could be literally doing anything.
Today, Tesla alone is worth as much as all the other automakers combined on the stock market. So it's the promise of what's going to be sold later, both in terms of the number of vehicles and the potential to move into adjacent markets. That's what investors are buying when they bet on this company.
Cybertruck and Semi. Tesla's two wildest projects are designed to maintain its lead and flood the entire planet with its 100% electric vehicles, revolutionizing the road and its uses. What if tomorrow were already here?